Hey y'all, my name is Jess Klein. I'm a singer-songwriter, touring artist, and recording artist, and I would like to invite you to join me for my new podcast, The Big Table. The Big Table is named after a single I released last spring. It's a song about abundance and believing that there's enough in this world for everyone. It was also about calling on the strength of my ancestors, who were Russian Jews who immigrated to America to escape the pogroms in Russia. The Big Table single was a fundraiser for World Central Kitchen to support their work in providing meals to people in Gaza who are facing the unimaginable. So the content of this podcast will be conversations with fellow artists and activists about the intersections between creativity and social justice. How are we using our creativity to build a better world? And also, what lineages are we drawing on, biological and otherwise, to do so? What do we need to reckon with in our own past, our own ancestry, and how that has shaped us in order to fully show up for this moment? The inspiration for this podcast came partly from something that happened to me last spring. I was on stage in New York City and I was performing a spoken word piece of mine called Chicken Soup, which I wrote in 2017 after the Jewish cemetery where my grandparents are buried was vandalized. I started performing Chicken Soup again this past year and dedicating it to people in Gaza, as well as to the families in Israel who are waiting for their hostage family members to be returned to them. And for the first time this past spring, as I was performing it, I actually felt like my ancestors were in the room with me. I felt their encouragement. I felt them wanting me to use my voice to talk about who and where we come from and how to use our creativity to help them move the world forward. The topics of ancestry and art and activism are all pretty loaded, but they are also the three topics I find most interesting, especially how and where they intersect. You know, like whose shoulders are we standing on when we create art, when we talk about and take action towards social justice? I want to say that I'm not breaking any new ground with the idea for this podcast. It's been heavily inspired by activists whose work I admire, who are many, but most specifically Adrienne Marie Brown's podcast, How to Survive the End of the World, which you should definitely subscribe to, and also Evangeline Weiss and Carrie Points, who lead a workshop called Finding Freedom, White Women Taking on Our Own White Supremacy, which is a course I learned a lot from when I took it in 2020. The idea of calling on the ancestors is something I've heard from many Black and Brown activists and friends. My aim with the conversations of this podcast is to help build community and connection among and between artists and activists, and also inspire you, the people listening, to embrace creativity in your activism and activism in your creativity. So the first full episode of The Big Table is going to drop later this month, later in September. In the meantime, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe, share it, like this podcast, all the things. I'm really looking forward to getting into these conversations. You know, I feel really blessed to know a lot of really brilliant people, and I kind of just wanted to have some conversations with these amazing people I know and let you in on them. So I'm looking forward to sharing all that, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.